Hello, and welcome to Cinephile Sundays, the live stream where a couple of book guys pretend to be movie guys for an hour or so. And this week we have a guest. We have Miguel from well, he's got two channels. He's got a LibroParadiso and Gore Vidal Comics. So he's got plenty of great content on classic and modern literature, and also on comic books and graphic novels and things like that. So thanks for joining us, Miguel.
No, thank you. Thank you both for having me. I mean, when you asked me to be on, the challenge was picking a movie, and
yeah,
and so challenge to pick a movie, and also grateful to talk movies with you guys because I certainly like the way you discuss films, and also the way you discuss books, and
right.
And then you opened it up for me, and obviously when you disappointed me when you said that "Bring It On" was off the table, and the savvy political response to this was, "You're not doing films after 1982," but I'm thinking, I wonder if because the reason I would like to do "Bring It On" is because you have a bunch of middle-aged men discussing teenage girls.
Yes.
And I wonder if that would get a response from the audience, which I think it probably would be.
It would.
And it would be hilarious. It would be absolutely hilarious. Now, we would be very proper about it. There would be nothing seemly about it.
Right.
But it would be interesting to see how many negative responses that would be on your channel you would get because of this.
It would, yes.
And you get the brunt of it. There we go. Bring it on.
Oh, boy.
Well, James is in charge of the content, so.
You what, Randy?
I'm no longer allowed this much input into the content.
Oh, right. Yes, the kayfabe. Yeah, that's right. Randy, you'll do as I say. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. Madness. So in any event, so I had to settle and find a film prior to 1982. And so, and I picked Big Country.
The Big Country, yes, 1958. And Randy's a big fan of this. You're a big fan of this. And you know what? I had never seen this movie before.
I'm looking forward to your thoughts, as well as Randy's, but more yours because this is new to you.
So not only am I a newcomer to this, but I'm also the only non-Texan watching this. And though they don't say that it's Texas, there is one weird thing about the location that I want to bring up. Does it seem to you guys like it's Texas where this is taking place? Because in my mind, it was.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Well, like maybe probably West Texas. Would you agree with that, Randy? Probably West Texas.
Yes. Yeah. And you can always tell a Texan. You just can't tell him much.
well, the reason I say that is there is okay. So to start off, the film opens on Big Red, the captain of the Rancho Carne cheer squad, leading the team through a spirited routine where they all introduce each other. Oh wait, I'm sorry. That's not what we're doing this time.
That day will come. I like this. It's good. This is good. Baby steps. Steps. I like this.
I had to watch a little bit of it last night. So
Really? You were watching Bring It On last night?
I was doing a little cooking and I put it on.
I planted the seed. Yeah. Now the seed is blooming. Okay. Continue.
So it basically it starts with a stranger coming to town, and this is a really small town somewhere out west. The stranger is wearing a brown suit, head to toe brown, with a bowler on his head, a bowler hat, right? And he arrives in town, and he's met by a cowhand, right? So the stranger is Gregory Peck. The cowhand is Charlton Heston. What a meeting, right? And Charlton Heston advises him that he might not want to wear that bowler hat in town because people will give him trouble for it. Now, most people would be sort of like, yeah, okay, whatever. I think I'm good, right? And Gregory Peck is like, okay, whatever. I think I'm going to keep my hat on. But it does turn out to cause some issues. He's taken to a small house in this town. It's like the only house. There's like 5 buildings in this town. One of them is a house where the school teacher lives, and she's being visited by his fiance, the woman he's engaged to marry, who's a native of this area, right? Mm-hmm. So this is kind of it had me thinking of Straw Dogs, which of course came later, and I suspect that Straw Dogs was influenced by this, if you guys know this film. But so he meets his fiance, who is a native of this area, and her father is a wealthy rancher, a well-to-do rancher. He's got a big place, and they get in her buggy. She's driving out, right, in this little buggy with 2 horses, and they get followed by this gang of yahoos, right? They're just the local no-good-nicks. Yes, the Hennessy brothers, right? And the fiance, she knows them. She's like, yeah, these are the local no-good-nicks. You don't have to. And he's like, they're just they're just drunk. They're having some fun. This doesn't seem like fun to me, right? These guys are like, they come up, they're right up alongside him. They steal his hat. Which, I mean, I don't know. This is a big deal for Westerners, right? They steal his hat, they shoot at it, they lasso him, they completely humiliate him, right? Now, obviously, he's in a tricky situation because what's he gonna do? Is he gonna take on all these guys and fight them on his own? And he's in front of his fiance. He's basically, they just put him in his place and show him that he is not, by their standards, a real man. But he kind of has to say, they're just drunk. I'm not, it's not worth it. And they ride on. But you can tell this is like planting a seed in her mind about what kind of man this is.
She doesn't like it.
What's that?
She didn't like it.
No. So they ride on. They arrive at her home, which is a big old ranch with a great big. It's like a southern plantation kind of house, basically. And he goes in. He meets her father, the Major. Right? Everyone calls him the Major.
Even she does.
Yes, even she does.
I don't think she ever calls him father or daddy or anything.
I don't think so. Yeah, she calls him Major.
He's got eyebrows.
Yeah. So one of the things I was going to say is that he says, welcome to the town, welcome to our family, and welcome to this state, which I think is something no one ever says. If you come and visit me, I say, maybe I'll say welcome to North Carolina. I don't say welcome to this state. And knowing what I know of Texans, they especially would not say, "Oh, we're just in a generic, could be any state." Right?
Right.
Yeah. So, thoughts on this up to now? This introduction to the scene. We've met kind of who we think are the villains. Maybe we've met the ingenue. We've met who's the school teacher who's going to be an important character, and we've met our ostensible hero, Gregory Peck, right?
Randy?
Well, I'll tell you, one of the things that I loved about this movie is I didn't know what was going to happen. I've seen a lot of Westerns, and this was completely unpredictable to me because I've never seen a Western start like this before, and I've never seen a Western hero dress like or act like Gregory Peck was acting in this. And so, at this point in the movie, I remember being completely baffled. I'm thinking, is this even a Western?
Right. And so our hero, Gregory Peck, doesn't. You're right. There's lots of Westerns where a stranger comes to town. But,
right. Well, they're willing to prove themselves. Or John Wayne comes rolling into town, man. He looks like John Wayne.
Yeah.
This guy looks like some nobody, but he's totally okay with that because he knows inside that he's got the stuff. Yeah, and he doesn't care if anybody else knows or not.
Right.
which to me was one of the most interesting things about the movie because it's just such an unusual attitude for a character from the Old West.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and I think as a modern day audience, even I was frustrated that he wouldn't prove himself. I shared in her frustration. I was like, why don't you just whip Charlton Heston's ass, dude? He's asking for it.
We get to that. We get to that.
You know, so.
Yeah, exactly.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
Those are my random initial thoughts anyway.
Yeah.
Well, the way I discovered this movie was many years ago on Turner Classic Movies. And I remember Charles Osborne when he was alive and he was doing the introductions and he began to discuss the movie. Now, obviously, I knew Wilder and I knew most of those actors that were going to be in it. He's listing who's in this, but I was surprised I had not heard about the film, given how many movies. I like watching movies, and so I remember thinking I almost changed the channel. I'm not sure when I watched this, and even though again I like the actors. I mean, I had seen Roman Holiday, I knew Gregory Peck quite well, obviously. To Kill a Mockingbird, The Omen. List goes on. So, but this is what got me. The opening credits and the music.
Mm-hmm.
I knew who Aaron Copland was, right? The music, right. Aaron Copland.
Mm-hmm.
And you see this series opening music, right, of the strings and such. And you see I guess the cab rolling down, and it's a very distant. The shot is distant. You're going to see a lot of shots that are very far away, and the music is so arresting. Right?
Yes.
And suddenly I'm just watching this, and then I'm watching who else is in the movie. Chuck Connors, Emperor Eyes, and when we arrive at this town, I think it's called Raphael or something like that, because you're right, it's only like a few buildings and like one house where Julie lives, the teacher played by the wonderful Gene Simmons.
Yes.
And you're right, he steps out of that and he's dressed in this suit. Mm-hmm. And automatically, when I saw that, I could tell he was not from there. He was from another part of the country. And also his demeanor.
Yeah.
And so it's very polite. And I noticed that he shakes the hand of the man who just took them there. Mm-hmm. His manners are impeccable, right?
Yeah.
And then the way the camera is, you see the people just looking at him. He really stands out. He's really a stranger in a strange land, to use the Heinlein thing, right?
Yeah.
It's almost like he's visiting another country.
Yeah.
I mean, he's and what's called a big country, but in a way for him, this is like one of those countries he's seen as captain of a ship traveling all over the world. Yeah. And then Charlton Heston pulls up. Right? But at this point, he had already made, I think he had done the 10 Commandments. He was already a big star.
Sure. Yeah.
Later on, I learned that he accepted this role only as a supporting character. Wilder wanted him to do it. He wanted to work with William Wilder. And of course, we know that as a result, he was so good in this, he got the Ben-Hur role shortly thereafter. But then you see these contrasts of these two men. And you see one man, he's saying, "What are you wearing? You can't be, that hat's going to be an issue." But then one ironies about Texas, and I think Randy will probably agree with me, is Texans, we always pride ourselves on being the individual, right? Not care what anybody thinks.
Right.
Not being part
especially if you're from a rural area in Texas.
Right. And yet, it's almost like a paradox. It can be very conforming. Anything that's different.
Oh, yeah.
Even though we say this, instead of embracing this man because we don't understand him, he's being judged in a very negative way.
Right.
But also you see an early contrast of the American character. You have one South American character, like by Gregory Peck's character, Jim McKay, who's from up east, who's more reserved about his accomplishments. And then you have another type of character, which is Charlton Heston's character, where the sense of honor. Both men understand honor. But in one sense, for one, is you have to constantly prove your honor. Well, another one is you only prove it to yourself. One is about appearances, social appearances, and the others are not. And I immediately caught on to that early on. There was something like, that's what got me. and that drew me in. And then when they meet, we meet Carol Baker's character, the woman he's engaged to for the Terrells, right? And when we meet her, we meet Gene Simmons. I'm thinking of the elite sororities we have here in Texas, right? Elite sororities, right? But then you have like Gene Simmons' character, the teacher, who will probably be the type who will belong to one of these sororities, but they're not going to associate exclusively with members of that sorority. They're very more democratic in the sense of I will associate with others. While this other girl here, Carol Baker's character, the fiance, oh no, not at all. This is her world, and the class issues are very apparent here. The way she talks about the Hannesys, like they're peasants, right? Or like they're slaves, they're trash. So early on, I'm engaged with these people because I imagine all these things began to strike. So I went on too long about this, but that's what arrested me in this film.
Yeah, exactly. It's fantastic, and we hear from Pat, and then from Pat's father, the major, about how much they hate the Hennessy's, and we kind of hate them too because we've only seen them harassing.
Yeah, Chuck Connors, by the way, for the rifleman. Yeah. Chuck Connors.
Oh, that's right. He sure is.
Yeah,
fantastic. I hated him every second he was on the screen. He was great.
He was damn good. Yeah.
Just this figure of menace and but also such a schmuck, to use a Texas term.
Yeah.
Yeah. And anyway, they get introduced to everyone, and everyone has a nice chaste evening, and the next morning they're gonna ride out on a mission, and they don't really say what it is, right?
Yeah.
He has the Gregory Peck, who by now we've learned has a lot of accomplishments. He's been a sea captain, so he's done this for a long time. He's met he's met Pat in Baltimore when she was out on a trip, so that's how they know each other, and how they got engaged. So they're gonna the Terrells. This Pat Terrell is the family that the woman he's going to marry. The Terrells under Major Terrell are going to go out and get revenge on the Hennessy's for
hunt the Hennessy's.
Yes, they're going to hunt them. And over breakfast of steaks about 2 pounds each with a fried egg on top. I always love to see what people are eating in these movies. The major says, these people need to be wiped off the face of the earth.
That's right.
It's like, wow, these people must be bad news. And he's like, I don't know. That's all right. And also there's the dueling pistols. So Jim McKay, yes, gives a gift of antique dueling pistols to his future father-in-law. And the father-in-law admires them. There's, these well-made English guns, and and then they go out and they're like, do you want to come with us? You can ride, Old Thunder.
Before they come there, if you let me interject, James, is that
go ahead.
Is that that scene in the breakfast room, right?
Yeah.
Where Carol is having a conversation with Jim, and this is the day after the hazing incident.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is about the way he handled that. He said he didn't think it was a big deal. Like I told Pat after it happened, he goes, "I've seen this." Remember, he's traveled around the world. He's seen all kinds of cultures.
Yeah.
And the way he looked at it was the only reason this thing escalated is because she pulled out the rifle.
Right.
Now, in her opinion, it didn't matter.
Yeah.
It did not matter, and it would not matter to the major for what they did. It was a major offense what they did to a guest.
Right.
And and of course, it was a pretext basically to lay down the law, which they're not lay down the law against the Hennessy's. And so he's got these dueling pistols, which are a gift. They belong to his father. And then he says something interesting. He says, no one ever remembers what the duel was about.
Right.
And then Terrell says, well, the memory of your father is important to you. But then he starts talking about a man's honor, his character. and you have to basically, if you don't basically stand up for yourself in this part of the world, you're not going to get paid for it.
Yeah.
But his point was, is Gregory Peck's point is, we honored his memory, alive and dead, basically saying whatever the duel was about, his honor was taken. It didn't matter. We still respected it.
Right.
And so this is going to be an issue throughout this film. I mean, the way I look at it. And so, but he has no idea when they say they come in, we're going to go hunting. He thinks they're going to hunting for animals. It's revealed is that this has escalated from what he thinks is something guys are just having fun.
Right.
These guys are going to go and maybe kill these men.
Yes.
And he's going to go and kill them, lynch them possibly. And so, and now that he gets corrected about that, but nevertheless, this is what we're going to do. Yeah. But already the way she talks to the major in front of the daughter, no one, I doubt, has ever spoken to that man like this way.
Right.
Maybe the Hennessy's.
Right.
And so, although he's polite about it, no one stood up to him before. And she does not like that. There's a wonderful scene with Wilder when he's talking to you have Gregory Peck, Bickford, and the posse, and she's over here. And then they have this confrontation, and you see the door just close as she walks into the house. And he's Gregory Peck there by himself on the porch.
Yeah.
A lot of these scenes like this, Wilder does so wonderfully well.
Yeah.
Ford is really good like this, especially like in The Searchers. And so basically, you already have this important moment here about what's happening here, which is going to lead up to another one, which is the Old Thunder situation.
Yeah. Yes. And so old.
Hello?
I'm here. Are y'all there?
Yes. I think James froze.
Yeah, it looks like James froze. I heard him say old
Okay.
Thanks, back.
Froze, James. Are you back?
Yeah, I'm back. Everyone cut out for a second. Yeah, so they're going to put
we know exactly where you stopped.
Yeah, old Thuh.
Blame it on the horse.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, and so they tell the what's his name, Ramon, who is the Mexican stable. I guess he takes care of the horses, and they're like, okay, Ramon, get him Old Thunder, and he's like, you want to put him on this horse? But apparently, this is something that happens a lot. Yeah. People put you on a horse named Old. They bring this horse out. It's a beautiful horse, by the way. But he's like, you know what? I don't think I'm going to go. He sees everyone standing around waiting to watch him get humiliated for the second time since he's arrived in Texas. And he just says, yeah, I pass. And I think, and for the Steve Leach view of the world, this is a humiliation for him. Yeah, for the Charlton Heston character, he's showing again that he's not a man, right? He just doesn't have what it takes. But we're going to learn some things about that, right? So they take the horse away.
Yeah, because we already get a hint early on, because when they all meet, the way he looks at her, you can tell it's something that he really likes. Right. He likes her.
Yeah.
And you begin to suspect that these two had something going on growing up, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when you think about it, why does she have to go up east? Sometimes you even wonder maybe that they sent her away.
Right.
And also class-wise, as much as Charlton Heston is like a son to the major, there's no way in hell her daughter is going to marry someone like Leach.
Right. Yeah.
She has to marry someone from the upper class.
Mm-hmm.
Sense that. Yeah. Anyway, so Leach is really angry because he's in love with this girl, and now she's engaged to this basically effeminate man.
Yeah.
Who at this point looked like he might be a coward.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he's back down. He's back down again.
He backed down again from Old Thunder. He backed down from riding this horse that everyone who's a guest, they put him on this horse.
Right.
Basically humiliate them.
Yes, another hazing.
And he senses that. Gregory Peck senses that. But they take it as cowardice. Mm-hmm. But he takes it as, I'm not going to be part of this game, which later on, it's reinforced later on with something more serious.
Yeah, yeah. So then we have like a couple of things that happen at the same time, and they're both some of the most important things in the movie, right? Gregory Peck secretly rides Old Thunder while one's out, and he tells Ramon, "Don't tell anyone this is happening."
Right.
And Ramon's like, I can't believe you're going to do this. And he basically breaks the horse, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah. All right. So this is a little bit unbelievable because this is a guy, he knows a lot about boats. We haven't ever seen him on a horse. But okay, through his force of will and his his charm, he gets the horse that no one can ride. He rides it, and Ramon can't believe it. Ramon, who's worked with horses all his life, but it happens. So, but he doesn't want anyone to tell, right? So this is the thing. Like Gregory Peck is in fact a man, is in fact extremely competent, but he's going to keep that to himself. Unlike Steve Leach, who needs to demonstrate.
You have to, yeah. People need
Right.
to see it, and it has to be
Yes.
seen by others.
Yes.
It must be seen, and yes.
And then we find out some things more about the Hannitys and more about what kind of people the Terrells are, because they ride up in this great scene of them riding through this little canyon into the homestead of the Hennessy's, who we've only seen them as like these 4 yahoos who are drunk and harassing people. And now we see like their homestead, and you realize we're not rooting for the good guys here if we're on the side of the Terrells, because none of the guys who were involved in that hazing are there, but the Terrells gang just proceed to terrorize everyone there. They turn their horses out, they shoot a bunch of holes in the water tank, and water is very important, because they're in basically a desert. So if they don't have water, this is a big problem for them. And even at one point, Steve Leach, when he sees the cowhands shooting holes in the water tank, he goes up to the major. He's like, "You sure you want this, Major?" And the major says, "Let them have their fun." Right. So they wreck this water tank. There's nothing but kids and old women around. And so they make this big mess and they ride off, feeling like they've taught a lesson to the Hennessy's. They go back. So, right. So, just because they're the underdogs doesn't mean that they're good people, but they certainly don't deserve this, right? But they didn't find the yahoos who caused all the trouble. So they ride into town. That's where they find the yahoos. They don't find Buck Hennessy, the Chuck Connors character, because he's hiding out somewhere.
He hides.
He manages to hide.
He hides.
They find the other 3, and they like a gang of like 20 of Terrell's men go and beat them in the livery stable. So. Oh, right. So, and what happened? What did we learn about Buck Hennessy, and what did we learn about Julie, the school teacher? Someone else tell a bit of the story from earlier.
Randy, you want to do it? I can try.
No, not me. You,
okay.
please.
That these people all grew up together. You can tell, right?
Yeah.
And you can tell Julie, who's played by Gene Simmons,
yes,
and who's got these. Whenever I look at her eyes, her eyes are just wonderful throughout this film.
Yeah.
And so Leach goes into her house without locking, and startles her while she's having her dinner. And he tries to be, you can tell they've known each other probably since they were kids.
Yeah.
She's a school teacher. She's comes from a very good family. She owns the Big Muddy, which is going to be the point of contention here between the families. And so she is. He clearly likes her, but she's a little bit afraid of him, and there's a good reason for that, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And so, as we will see later, and so Julie. But anyway, Hennessy lies to the father, saying that she's actually sweet on him, and this puts ideas into the father that maybe if she would marry him, they'll get access to the Big Muddy, etc. Right? And of course, but he's lying about this. So that's where we are when he this non-relationship between the school teacher and Hennessy.
Yeah. He sits down and starts eating her soup.
Yeah.
It's like, awful presumptuous, isn't it? Yeah.
Then he grabs her and he
Then they had to charm him in those days.
tries to kiss her forcefully, and it's an intense scene. Eventually, he just backs off and leaves. But he even tells her, you should lock your door.
Yeah. It's definitely menacing, and this character does intimidate people just because of his size, and so he leaves. I guess the next thing that happens,
Chuck Connors is big in real life.
Yeah,
because I'm 6'3" and that's tall, and I think Chuck Connors was like 6'5", 6'6".
Yeah,
I didn't know.
He towers over everyone around in this movie. Yeah, and the next scene is the engagement party, I believe.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's a wonderful scene.
It is really great. So this is at the Major's big mansion once again, and somehow there's a whole bunch of fancy society people. I don't. If they came from the town, I don't know.
Well, they all live in that town with the 5 buildings.
Yeah.
There's also an orchestra playing for them to waltz to. I don't know that there are that many classical musicians in this, but they're okay.
It's very nice music, though.
It is nice music. It is. Yeah. Yeah. You mentioned Aaron Copland. It's not Aaron Copland. I looked it up, but it does definitely reference that kind of Appalachian Spring sort of pentatonic, like big wide open stuff. Yeah. And so there are dances. Jim McKay dances with his fiancee Pat.
Yeah.
Steve Leach cuts in. Steve Leach he learned how to waltz. He's not as smooth as Jim McKay.
He holds her too tight. At one point, he says, "You're hurting my hand."
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And McKay, Gregory Peck's character, gets to meet a bunch of the local people. They get to know him a bit, and the important there's conversations. The important thing is that someone shows up.
Yeah.
And it's Rufus Hennessy. He is the counterpart to the Major. He's the pater familias of the Hennessys, played by the great Burl Ives.
and his eyebrows.
And his eyebrows. And he just kind of shows up.
Fantastic.
He just shows. You turn around and he's just standing there, shotgun in his hand. I think it's a shotgun. Maybe it's a rifle. You guys are Texans,
I think it's a shotgun.
He's just holding it, and everyone turns around and looks at him. And I think it's Steve Leach who's like, "Let's get rid of him," and the Major says, "No, let him say what he has to say."
Yeah.
But boy, does he have a lot to say.
The thing is, the way this is wonderfully set up on this by Wyler is you have this really beautiful ball, exquisite music, and but the way it's set up is at one point you have Carol Baker, who's dancing with Gregory Peck, and she's dancing with her father. But then but all this time Leach is watching in the background. And the way you could tell he's really angry about all this, right? Mm-hmm. And so you see that. And then he gets to dance with Julie. Gregory Peck gets to dance with Julie. And she says, "So what do you think about the Major?" He goes, "I'm not marrying the Major." And you have all these wonderful things here. Is about you get that Peck seems to be onto things here, right? And Julie's seeing a different side of him. So yes, when Burl Ives arrives into that, all this music, and you see this man. Yes, he's a huge man, and he's not dressed like they are.
Right? No. Yeah.
And so he comes up with his shotgun, and he just stands there, and suddenly people begin to turn around. Right. And at one point, Gregory Peck looks at him, and he looks over at Gene Simmons, and she whispers something in his ear, probably saying, "This is who this man is."
Right.
And then finally, the Major comes up, and it's a wonderful. Burl Ives says, he goes, "I'm not really here because what you did to what 20 of your boys did to 3 of mine. Right. They could take a licking, and maybe they had it coming. Maybe they deserve it. I'm not here for that, right? But when you come in, right, and you terrorize, the women and the children where I live. And also, Terrell, and this we get a back history. These men have known each other for 30 years.
Yeah.
And you can tell these men came into this country like over 30 years ago, and it was tough. Maybe they started out together, but maybe things diverged for one, right? One lives in a canyon and almost poverty. Here, the other one lives extremely well, like you said, like a plantation, right?
Yeah.
But he looks at Terrell and says, he calls him a hypocrite. He goes, you can fool all these people here. You can fool them all you want. But he goes, you're like the worst kind of this critter I've ever seen. It's what you just did. And he does this wonderful thing. He throws the gun at him, and he walks right up to him, and he goes, let's get this over with now. He goes, I'll make it easier for you.
Yeah.
And he turns around and walks away.
Yeah.
Like and the rifle, the shotgun's right there. And then Charlton Heston picks it up and checks it. It was loaded.
Yeah.
And so that's an incredible scene in this film.
Yeah.
It's remarkable. So wonderfully executed by Wyler. Yeah.
Amazing. And so I don't think it's ever really made explicit if the things he's implying about the Major are really true, but there's something about him not being completely honorable.
Yeah.
Right. And it's believable from what we do see of him, of his behavior. He seems to be it. Who is the actor who plays the Major? I looked him up. Bigford, yeah. Bigford. I mean, everyone acting in this is really good. There's not like a ham performance in this whole thing. Everyone's pretty good, and Bigford kind of is. He doesn't really seem even Southern to me. It kind of seems New York. He has kind of a New York kind of way of speaking, But anyway, but that's beside it. He's just sort of he lets the guy say all this stuff, and then and say, here, take this gun and shoot me. But then before Burl Ives walks away, he's like, do you have a problem shooting someone while you're facing him? And then he says, I'll make it easier for you. And he walks it, right? Implying that maybe there was some time that he knows about some incident in the past.
I hadn't thought about that.
This is what I'm thinking. Like this guy shot someone in the back, and he knows, that I know that.
That's good. I hadn't thought about that, James. It's good.
Yeah, we have one comment from Patricia H. from about half an hour ago. So hello all, says Patricia H. So if you're still here, Patricia, thanks for hanging.
Hello, Patricia.
Yeah. So all right, and Burl Ives, of course, is we all know Yukon Cornelius, and that's a great folk singer, and
he got best supporting actor for this too.
Yeah,
did he in fact?
I think he was the father in. He was in one of the Tennessee Williams films.
Oh yeah, he was in Cat on the Hot Tin Roof.
Yeah.
Yes, it's Big Daddy, right?
Big Daddy. Yes.
Yeah, fantastic. So after the ball, that kind of puts a damper on the festivities, right? But we do learn another important thing during the ball, which is that the school teacher is not just a school teacher. She is an heiress. Yeah. She's an heir to a third important ranch, or a third major family in this area. Yeah, so she has a ranch called the Big Muddy, and it was her father's and her grandfather's, her great-grandfather's, in fact. And it had been considered and it has a big river that goes through it. So in this part of the country, there are dry periods, and the ranchers, these two ranching families, have to water their cattle or they'll die, right? And so this is one of the few sources of water. And the school teacher, Julie Mangaron's father, had always made it available to both families when they needed to water their cattle. And so she's kept this policy herself. But both families want to get this land. They both want this ranch one way or another so that they can exclude the other. Right. So we see the major offer to buy it from her outright at the ball. And we know that the Hennessy's don't have that kind of money, but that's part of what Buck is doing when he's doing his version of flirting with her. It's like, if I can marry her, then we can get control over this and exclude the Terrells. She doesn't want to give it to either of them. She's not running it as a ranch, right? We see that it's kind of fallen into disuse.
Yes.
You know, the big manor house is boarded up, but it's still there, and she lets people use it to water their cattle. So that's another important thing that we learned. I don't remember where the plot goes directly after the ball. A lot of things happen in this movie.
The navigation.
Really,
yeah, I think the next
navigation, right?
It's when the important is when I guess I call it navigation. Is
Right.
that Jim McKay, Gregory Peck, decides, I think it's the next day, to explore the land.
Yeah.
And he talks to Ramon, and who gives him a horse. And he tells Ramon to let the family know that I'm going to be gone for about a day or two, not to them to worry.
Yeah.
Now Ramon says, you can't really go on your own here.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't do this. And
Right.
he goes,
It's
well,
a big country.
Yeah, it's a big country. It's
Yes.
a big country. I have this map that I've made, and I have a compass. And he shows
Right.
it.
The compass.
And so I goes, I'll be fine.
Yeah.
And so what's happening now at this point is, as we learn, is he wants to go see the big money.
Yeah.
He wants to go see it for himself. And he gets there. And when he gets there, we see that Jean Simmons is there. Like you said, she's fixing up her house. She's there by herself, the school teacher. And so she's surprised to see him, right? And this is something that's rather impressive. Here's a man who's, she says, people get lost here who are from here. And yet he managed to get there on his own. And yet the way he doesn't boast about it, he just, I navigate, pointed here, and I'm here. So you're already seeing things about his character, right? Yeah, about he's not just intelligent, but maybe, maybe he's a good character. And then they have this conversation. And basically it turns into flirtation.
Yes.
It's a wonderful scene in the flirtation, because when they're sitting down talking, and she first he begins to tell her about an incident on the ship with a shark.
Yes.
And then she tells him an incident happened there with the Comanches and an anthill.
Right.
And then he pretends to pass out from it.
Yes.
And then they have this wonderful, but all this time, but in a way he talks to her in a way he can't talk to his fiance.
Right.
Who would not be interested in any of this at all.
Yeah.
They're talking like friends.
Yes.
And I found that utterly fascinating in the film. And basically as they're talking, and he says, what does it take to run a ranch? Like, what do I need? And she advises him what you need. And she figures, wait a minute, Jim.
Yeah.
You want to buy the big money from me? I can't sell it to you. Selling it to you be like selling it to the Terrells.
Yes.
And he goes, you're not selling it to them, you're selling it to me. Yeah. And you sell it to me, I'll keep the peace, let them use the water, the Hennessy, anybody who wants it. And she, he seems really sincere. And she's already seen, and also this is the part where she learns about the horse, because he's hurt, right? He seems like, oh, is that because of the Hennessy? She goes, oh, that was nothing. I had trouble with a horse. Right. He goes, oh, the guy put you on a horse? Well, no, I did it on my own.
Yeah.
And already she learns, oh, she rode the horse. It'll be important later on, right? And so she decides to buy the big money, which would be a wonderful wedding present.
Yes.
But all this time, though, back at the house, though, Ramon tells the family that he's gone somewhere. They freak out. They absolutely lose it, right? And at one point, the major, he has his little search party. He goes, I can't understand this man. Yeah, implying basically, because he thinks of him as already as a coward. But would a coward go out on their own this way?
It doesn't make sense, right?
It makes sense. So maybe the next worst thing is he's mad. He's out of his mind. Which is,
Yeah, and Steve Leach has words with Pat, and he's like, I'll go and find this guy for you. I have no respect for this dude. I don't know what you see in him, but I'll go out and I'll save his life for you.
That's right.
And then
you're the passionate.
And then yes, and then he kisses her, and she fights him off.
Yes, he bites him. He's got blood on his lips.
Yeah. It's another kind of Straw Dogs moment. I don't know if Straw Dogs is in our time frame, but maybe
that's the film with Dustin Hoffman.
Yes, he gets engaged to a Scottish girl, and
I didn't see the connection until you mentioned it. Yeah.
I'm sure it's from the 70s.
I think it is, yeah. But anyway, and I think it was a Peckinpah movie, which would make it
I think so.
Yeah, it's definitely a Peckinpah movie.
Yeah, a Scottish version of a Western, right? But anyway, but yeah, so they go off to find him. He's told them he's totally fine, and apparently he's the only one who anyone's ever heard of who can navigate using a compass the naval way. He's like, I have a map, I have this, I can chart a course, right?
Yeah.
And I can get there. And it's just
stars up there.
Just like being in a boat, I guess. And and everyone is confounded by this. Ramon says that he showed me this crazy watch he has. And he said not to worry. He has a crazy watch, is what his explanation.
Yes, and the major calls him an idiot.
Yes, that's right. So they go out. They don't find him. They come back to the house, and the major's like, go out and find him. And they tell him again to go find him. The guys are really pissed they're really mad at Jim McKay at this point for, wasting their time, having them run around in the heat. And he's been fine. He's had his little thing with Julie, and he's bought the ranch. Or at least convinced her to sell him the ranch. And they go back, and he shows up. Oh, we have Talia Nerds Out here dropping in. Hello, Talia Nerds Out. Thanks for coming.
Hey.
Right. So he shows up at the campsite where Steve Leach and some of the cowhands are having coffee and resting after looking for him all day and expecting they're going to have to spend the next day looking for him. And he just walks up and he's all casual and you can imagine, he's like, hey, what's up, dudes? And they're like,
what's going on?
These guys can't stand him at this point, right? You can kind of sense it. He's like, it's an awkward moment.
Well, you remember what he said?
It's a great moment.
Across the camp right there.
Yeah.
He goes, is that coffee?
Yeah.
And you just look at him. And he's all dressed up. If you notice, he's got this nice double-breasted jacket with all these buttons.
It's like a pea coat, like a naval pea coat. Yeah,
he looks really nice.
He looks great. His hat, he's not wearing the bowler. He's got this really nice white hat on.
That's right.
Yeah.
So he asks for the coffee, and they're just looking at him. And then he looks at him and goes, "What are you guys? Are you guys on a roundup?"
Yeah. Are you on a roundup?
No, we're looking for you. He goes, yes. Looking for me? And he goes, where were you? And then he says, makes it worse. Well, I've been out shopping.
That's shopping for a wedding
present. I've been out shopping. He didn't say for the wedding present. Yeah, maybe so. Because I've been out shopping. They're going, there's no time for jokes, McKay.
Yeah, exactly.
So he really is baffled by all this. He goes, but it finally begins to sink in when they go let Terrell and Carol Baker Pat know that they found him, and now we get to, I guess, the where things escalate here to something very serious.
Yeah. So they get back to the house. It's clear Terrell has no patience for this. Pat has lost even more respect for Jim McKay, and I think so Steve Leach challenges him to a fight right there.
Yeah, but remember the reason is because this is interesting because inject this here. They show up at the Terrells, and she runs up. Jim, where were you? We were so worried. And he goes, "Oh, I've been fine. Didn't Ramon tell you?" And then the major shows up.
Yeah.
He goes, "Are you saying we were on a wild goose chase?" And basically, you were on a goose chase.
Yeah.
And he goes, "I knew where I was." Now, he didn't tell him where he went. He didn't tell him what he's done. And he goes, "I knew where I was." And at one point, that's when Leach, Charlton says,
Yeah.
that's a lie. He calls him a liar.
Yeah.
And the camera pans over to Carol Baker.
Mm-hmm.
And then
She's like,
and you see her looking at Peck, see how he's gonna at Charlton Heston and how they're gonna react.
Right.
And then that's when we get back to the old Thunder situation.
Right.
He goes, Leach, if you picked a good time for a fight, you picked a really good time.
Yeah.
He goes, yeah, I'm busy for a fight.
Yeah.
And let me just be more frank with you. I think you took advantage of it when she went up east. Maybe you're a big shot over there.
Yeah.
You know? And he says, okay, you're gambling, Leach, so that if you fight me, you might win.
Mm-hmm.
And that will impress Terrell.
Yeah.
And that offends Leach. He goes, you don't bring a lady's name into this thing.
Yeah.
And then he goes, and at this point, you know, he says, Gregory Peck tells him, let's get something clear here. I'm not playing your game with horses or with guns.
Yeah.
We're not doing this.
Right.
That right there. Heston just looks at him. He can't believe this. The major just puts his head down and walks away. The men turn away and get into the horses. And Carol Baker's just looking at the ground.
Yeah.
And then they walk into the house. And he says, don't you want to know where I was? It doesn't matter. He called you a liar.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then she says this. She goes, basically, he goes, say it. What do you think? That I'm a coward?
Mm-hmm.
And she goes, don't you care what people think? Don't you care about me?
Yeah.
And he goes, it doesn't matter what people think. He goes, "This is what I think." And she goes, I don't understand this.
Right.
And then she says some really strong words to him where he just says, it's probably better if I just tomorrow go into town and we have to think things over. Because already she's challenged his character, his honor, and also the fact if you love me, this comes out later, you wouldn't be questioning me. And instead of really asking, all you care about was he called you a liar without, you don't want to get an explanation. And that's not really, that's the way this works here is, it doesn't matter the substance. Mm-hmm. If I call you a liar or you call me a liar with something stupid, it doesn't matter. Is you question my honor, and that's enough. Let's fight it out. And it's a powerful scene in the film.
It is.
And then the fight. The fight.
Right. So we've got some comments from Talia Nerds Out. So she says, I rewatched the movie last night, and she's laughing. Okay. He does say he's shopping for a wedding present. Yeah. No one bothers to listen to what he might have had to say about where he was. They made up their minds about him, and that a dude from out east can't possibly handle Texas. Yeah, they do call him a dude at some point. Yeah,
they call him dude quite a bit. Yeah.
Yeah. Just like with the major, the appearances of things are most important to her. Yeah. Well, yeah. So he's lost face with everyone there. Randy, there's like some noise on your mic. So I've occasionally muted your mic. I don't know.
Oh, I'm sorry. I muted it. Well, I thought I muted it.
Now we can't see you, Andy.
Yeah, now we can't see
Well, I'm still here. Leave me on mute. I'm going to try to fix this sound thing, okay?
I blame it on old Thunder.
Yeah. Right. So everyone goes to bed, but Jim McKay gets up early in the morning. It's still dark. It's not even light yet. And he goes out to Steve Leach's cabin and wakes him up, and it basically says, let's just settle this. You know, I know you want to fight. Let's fight where no one's watching, right? And we won't tell anyone what happens. Which,
because the thing is, when he sees him, he goes, "You come to say goodbye."
Right. Yeah, that's right.
Say goodbye.
Yeah.
And he goes, "The type of goodbye, we're going to need a different place."
Yeah.
And so he looks at him,
yeah.
And then he says, and McKay looks very stern. He says, "And I would like to keep this between us."
Yeah.
And Charlton Heston smiles. Yeah, I can see that. I can see why.
Yeah.
He's suggesting now, I'm going to beat the crap out of you.
I'm going to beat the crap out of you. You don't want to know.
You know, it's fine. And then they do this wonderful scene when they both go out.
Yes.
And at this point, all you hear are crickets.
Yep.
You hear breathing.
Yep.
The music has stopped, and the camera pans out
way back. Yep.
And I saw an interview with Heston regarding that scene.
Yeah.
And he thought it was a joke. He thought Wilder was messing with him. He goes, Wilder was way in the distance, basically he was elevated. We could barely see him.
Right. Yeah.
And I'm thinking, this is how he's going to shoot the fight scene?
Right.
Because he thought it was a joke from Wilder's end. But of course, it wasn't a joke.
Right.
And then they begin to fight. Yeah. And again, all you hear are the crickets, the body slams, and the shuffling.
Yes.
And that's all you hear.
Yeah.
And then, the camera pans out to suggest that no one could hear this. No one in the homes and the cabins can hear this.
Yeah.
And they go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And finally, towards the end, they, I think it's Gregory Peck says, basically, we had enough. And he goes, basically, you've had enough, something like that, right? But then I'm sorry, what?
Leach says, you sure take a long time to say goodbye.
The long goodbye.
Yes, right, yeah.
It's the long goodbye. And when they finally are done, he looks at him, and this is important because it goes back to something about the dueling that took place how his father died.
Yeah.
Well, Leach, what did we prove?
Right.
What? And so they both walk away.
Yeah.
And because you're right, what did they prove? Except maybe to themselves, I suppose. But this could have been guns. This could have been something more deadly. Here they're just bruised up and such. So
to Leach, one would think this proves, if he is able to accept the lesson that McKay is not the coward that he thought he was, and also not just that he's not a coward, but that he's also has something to back himself up with. He's got a skill that Leach recognizes. He can fight
because he's the one that hit. If you notice the film, it's Peck who hits him first.
Yeah,
he hits him, knocks him down. He gets up again, and Peck knocks him down again.
Yeah,
and I think Leach was surprised by that.
Yeah,
so he's not the one who lands the first punch.
Right.
It's Jim McKay that lands the first punch. The dude who lands the first touch on this of Texan.
Exactly.
Did that work?
Let's see. I think that's better, Andy. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So what we've got here, we've got this Gregory Peck character. He's basically a Batman of the 1890s or the 1900s. He's just good at everything, and he's so good at everything that he's better than you'll ever be, and he doesn't have to prove it to anybody.
Right.
He doesn't have to play by the rules either because he's too competent for that.
Yeah, because at one point, Gene Simmons' character says at one point, the only thing about McKay is maybe he doesn't want to show off, something like that. I'm paranoid.
Right.
And I really like the way that this movie takes its time to do things. Like the scene where he learns to ride Old Thunder takes a while, right?
It's a 10-minute
scene. Yeah, and this fight takes a while. When they've gone out, it's like pre-dawn, and they're just looking at each other.
Yeah,
and it takes and they're like, I guess we're doing it, and they start circling each other, and they just are it's like, look, I'm an old man. I don't get in fights anymore, but even when I was young, I didn't get in fights. But yeah,
you were a real scrubber back in the day, though, weren't you?
Yeah, right. What's it like? You wake someone up, before the sun is up, and you're like, let's go fight, and you're like.
That's right.
Go down in the Silo Road.
Let's Talia has some more things to say about the fight. She says that it's Old Thunder all over again, and yeah, it is. It's another secret trial. It gives McKay the privacy the way the character would want it, because they're out by themselves, and the camera respects McKay where no one else does by keeping its distance. And Leach tries to hit him first, doesn't he? Even if he doesn't land the first one. I don't know if that's true. That might be true. I don't remember the blow by blow, so to speak. But you might be right. He didn't do it for you, Pat. Okay, I'm not sure what that quote is, but
I think that's maybe later when they when Julie and Pat meet, which is coming up the next scene, and that's when the truth is revealed to Pat.
Right.
That that basically that Gregory Peck, Tim McKay, has ridden Old Thunder,
right,
and learns a few other things as well.
right,
And
yeah,
she's maybe misjudged him.
yeah.
Yeah. And so I think that's what Jeff was referring to. Because basically, how many times does a man have to win you over?
Right, yeah.
You know, how many times does a guy have to do this? I mean,
Right.
again, they've known each other since they were kids.
Yeah. Exactly, as Talia says. Okay, good. So, yeah, so fantastic. They had the fight. They agreed they're not going to tell anyone about it. And it's basically a draw, right?
Yeah.
Neither gets the best of anyone.
What did we prove?
What did we prove? And he goes and takes a room in town, right? He's registered the sale of the big money to himself. So he's now the owner of a ranch. He's got no ranch hands.
No.
He has no
Before
cattle.
he does that, though, this is important. Before he does that, though, again, a revelation to his character.
Yes.
He goes to see Julie.
Right.
And he goes to see Julie, and she shows up, and he tells her, "Look, I wanted to see you." Because I don't want to basically buy the big money under false pretenses.
Right.
Basically, is as I was going to be a wedding present. And she goes, "Don't you still want it?" Well, yeah, I still do want it, but basically, I wanted to let you know.
Yeah.
And so again, this is something very honorable about this man.
Right. Yeah.
And she says. And Benny says, "Look," and so she goes, "You got Pat all wrong. You know how she is. I've known her. I mean, she's a little bit high strung." And he says, "No, it's too late. It's finished."
Yeah.
And then he says, "You've been a good friend to her. She's lucky to have you as a friend." And then the way she looks at him and the way he looks at her, and you can tell there's already a connection between these two.
Right.
They really, especially from her end, this man is something, all these things that may have said about him, she never really believed them, but now it's reinforcing that this man is an honorable man, a good man, and also a courageous man. And so she goes, "Yeah, so I can record the deed." Yes, basically. And now, I think if she had objected, he would have said, "Fine, you can keep it." And so I think she respected that. And there's a wonderful scene where she's by the fence and she's looking at him. And he's walking away, and he turns around and looks at her, and she looks at him briefly, and then turns away, and then they part, and then on the hill, the Hannesses are coming down.
Right. Yep.
It's a beautiful scene.
It's great.
And again, before I go, the music on this movie's 3 hours long, but the music is almost continuous throughout this film. And I have to say, probably part of the reason this film doesn't feel that long for me is because of the music.
Yeah.
It's the way it's utilized is absolutely brilliant. And it's my understanding by the end of the film, Wyler hated the music. And he wanted a new score, which is astounding.
Well, the composer uses one theme.
Yeah.
He really drives it home.
He does.
So I can imagine by the end, one might get tired of it. Talia says Julie can't possibly help noticing that he's also a very handsome man. Gregory Peck,
absolutely. He's very much the same character as in To Kill a Mockingbird.
Yeah.
He's the same honorable character and the same character in Roman Holiday. So the Roman Holiday, you have this journalist who at first has a selfish interest to interview Audrey Hepburn.
Yeah.
But then when he realizes he's not going to use the story,
right?
And because he's not going to do it after all, and so he's almost like the same sort of character, right?
Yeah. So, all right. So the Hannesses, Talia loves both of those movies. Talia, maybe Talia has a really cool booktube channel too. Maybe you would like to be a guest on a future Cinephile Sundays if there's a pre-1982 movie you would like to discuss with us. Let me know. So we're up to where the Hannesses are going to kidnap Julie to see has gone to visit Pat, and they have a little conversation.
That's right. I jumped ahead because we had already
Right.
before. We jumped ahead. The visitation is important.
Yeah, she goes to visit Pat, who's upset and wants to try smoking a cigarette, which is something that she saw people doing in Baltimore, and she tries it, but she does not get it, which makes sense. But anyway, so they talk, and this is where she said I think where she tells her he didn't do it for you, right?
The Thunder,
yeah,
Thunder.
About riding Old Thunder and buying the ranch and all that. So then Julie is abducted by the Hennessy's after she talks to Gregory Peck, and this is because the reason they do this is because Buck, the Chuck Connors character, has told his father Rufus, she's sweet on me. She's sweet on me, and we can make the Terrells think that we have her, and they'll have to come and get her and rescue her, even though she won't mind being here as sort of a pawn because she likes me. And Rufus decides, okay, we'll give this a try. I don't know why he trusts Buck. Buck is clearly an idiot, and Rufus knows Buck is an idiot. He says, all right, this is what we'll do. Randy, are you here twice?
Randy? No, I see him once. What do you mean? Oh, wait a minute. Somebody else is there.
Sorry.
Now he's twice. Now he's one.
Now he's one. Okay. Anyway, and so they get her, they bring her back up into their little canyon ranch. And I don't remember how the word gets to the Terrells that this has happened. But okay, maybe we're doing.
I know that a horseman rides up to the Ladder Ranch and informs. You see somebody riding up there, but the thing is, this is all planned by Rufus. There's definitely a plan to get her over there, and he's got it. So basically, if the way I see it is when she shows up with the son, and basically is you're going to marry my husband, my son here, but he's got a backup plan. Because he already has the deed written out. He's writing down a deed with an offer and everything. So in case that doesn't work out, but his plan is basically he's got a plan because remember prior to this, the Terrells with Charlton Heston and the men have prevented them from using the Big Muddy for the cows, right? And so 20 some cows died and such, and so. I think the way Rufus sees this is going to escalate, and we have to just end this. And by having Julie there, either A, she's going to marry my son, and that doesn't work out. Basically, we're just going to let the Terrells know that we have her, and we know that's going to send them over here, and we're going to ambush them and just end it.
We'll just finish it. Yeah. So I'm starting to think that maybe Rufus and the Hennessy's aren't so bad, but this is kind of a bad scheme, right? These guys aren't that good either. These guys are not that good either. But anyway, so it works to the extent that it gets the Terrells, to come up and try to challenge them, right? They ride up. They're at the kind of the head of the canyon, like the point of no return. They're like, once we go into this narrow little snaky thing, it's either we go in and we walk out or we don't. And meanwhile, Rufus and Buck and Julie are up in the cabin, and they're trying to figure it out, right? And it becomes clear to Rufus very clearly that Julie does not care about Buck at all. Right. It's like, sweet on you, eh? That's what you told me. Sweet on you.
You're the mother and father of all liars.
You're the mother and father of all liars.
His son,
yeah, and so he shows her the deed, and he's like, you can sign you can will it over to me, and she's like, yeah. She just signs it, and she's like, can I leave now?
Take me home.
Yeah. So Rufus is like, well, something is not right with this. I mean, obviously she's held onto this ranch for a long time, and it can't be that.
Can't be that
And
easy.
the reason she doesn't care about signing it over is she doesn't. she's sold it already, so that paper is worthless. Right. So I guess we're going to have to go with the other plan of waiting and murdering all the Terrells when they come to get
Yeah.
you. All right.
Yeah, but he discovers basically when she says, "I sold it to McKay,"
Yeah.
and even though she tries to say McKay, well, at that point, Chuck Connor says, "Well, that's going to be the son-in-law,"
Right.
and even though she tries to say, go talk to
Yeah.
McKay, he's no, it's going to be open to everyone.
Yeah.
At that point, he says, "My conscience is now clear. Whatever
Right.
happens out here," Rufus tells her, "is going to be on you."
Yeah.
And so here's your dinner if you want it. If not, there's the bed right over there.
Yeah.
And he walks out, and Chuck Connor stays in there with Gene Simmons, and she just goes into the room and pushes like a dresser to block the door.
Right.
And there's a wonderful scene where she looks out the door. There's no lock.
Yeah.
And he's sitting at the table, and it goes back to the scene, an earlier scene when he had gone into her house and said, you should lock your door. That's right. I mean, there's moments like that throughout the film. It's like a novel. Right.
Yeah.
And so, and then this next scene is brutal. It's absolutely brutal. I was surprised when I saw this. And the first time I saw the film is when he basically tries to rape her.
Yeah.
It's a brutal scene.
Yeah.
And then Rufus comes in.
Yeah.
And have this fight with his son. And then at one point, Chuck Connors is choking Burl Ives. And he goes, "I'm going to end you."
Yeah.
And but Burl Ives is stronger than him and throws him out. Yeah. And you have this fiendish face on Burl Ives.
Right.
And then the camera pans down as Gene Simmons is just terrified. Her face is absolute fear.
Yeah.
She closes the door and she's crying and terrified by what just happened.
Yeah.
And you feel for it. It's just so wonderful. It's brilliant acting throughout this film.
It is. And it looks like Buck is going to win that fight for a good long time.
Yeah, it does.
Because you see like Rufus's eyes kind of get buggy, like, oh man, this is the end of me. But then he does win, and then he kicks him a bunch of times because Buck is no good for anything, right?
Crawl like a dog.
Crawl like a dog. Yeah. It's the next morning. The Terrells are at the mouth of the canyon, right? And McKay comes riding up, and he's like, "I can go and I can talk to them. I can get her back. We don't have to."
Because Ramon tells him what has happened, and he goes with Ramon. No one tells him what has happened.
Right. Yeah. So he rides up with Ramon. So Ramon is kind of basically
he's the witness.
The Terrells.
Also, he's a witness to all this.
Yeah.
A witness to this story, which I'm sure he's going to tell this story down the road to others.
Yeah. Yeah. Because everyone kind of underestimates Ramon.
Yeah, they do.
They don't really trust him. But not McKay.
Not Julie.
Not Julie and not McKay, right? They trust. Yeah. We've got a few more comments from Talia. So she says a guy rented from town to tell the Terrells Hennessy's have more respect for true gentlemen and ladies in a way the Terrells didn't, while still being the West version of trailer trash. Kind of, yeah. And she feels violated and vulnerable talking about Julie and knows her safety in that scene depends solely on Burl Ives. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, well said.
Hold on a second. I'll be right back.
Randy?
Hang on one sec. I'll be back in a sec, too.
Yeah.
Buck, come
on. No, but it's well said about that scene.
Sorry about that.
No, it's fine.
All right. It's the time in the live stream where Louise has to sit on my lap. Otherwise, she goes crazy.
It's Cujo.
Is your dog bothering you too? Because that's exactly what I had to do was pay attention to Brock.
That's all dogs, Cujo.
All dogs are Cujo.
They all have the potential. They all have the potential. Yeah.
Cujo.
Not her. Look at her.
Hey. Beethoven is nice. Really nice in that movie.
So, right. So we find out also the Hennessy's have really set quite a trap. And
Yeah,
I mean, the Terrells have to know riding into this is going to be
suicide.
death for a bunch of them. Yeah,
But
suicide.
It's suicide.
Yeah. But the Major, I mean, the Major shows that there's something to him, right? He's not all bluster. He has actual physical courage.
Yeah.
And no one wants to go with him. Steve Leach basically says, I'm not going. This is a guy who's been with him, for decades, his whole life.
Yeah, since he was 14 years old. He's like a son.
Yeah. And the Major's like, okay, if no one else is going, I'm going. It's really quite a stirring scene. Even though, I mean, by this point, you're like, this guy sucks. But he's like, all right, he's going to do what he says he's going to do. And so he's riding in, and then Steve comes up. He's like, all right, fine, we'll do it. And then one by one around the corner, more and more horsemen come, and they're joining on this completely stupid mission that they're on to go. And,
but I understand it. I mean, it's funny when Leach is watching this man. It's like a father figure going to his death.
Yeah.
And so Leach decides, just to go, and go with him. He can't let them go by himself. And then you see the other men here, right?
Right.
And some of them, they follow Leach.
Right.
But also you have that situation, as you know, that old line about, step across this line. Those of you who want to volunteer to basically do a suicide mission.
Yeah.
I think some have argued the person that takes courage is the person who won't do it because of the peer pressure.
Right.
They're not going to succumb to that. Not because they're a coward. Yeah. But I'm a coward if I go along with it because I don't want to be stigmatized by this.
Right. Yeah.
But putting that aside, but again, back to the music, is you see them riding, and there's the Major facing forward, and Charlton Heston and all the men ride up as they're heading basically down this, like you said, this snake-like canyon.
Yeah.
And all this time, though, McKay and Ramon have ridden into the canyon safely.
Yes.
And have now met up with Burl Ives, Chuck Connors, and Gene Simmons, and we're getting to the incredible scene. And anyway, I'll let you take it. What's going to happen next?
Well, it's a fantastic scene because the basically Chuck Connors wants to have a gunfight with McKay. Well, he wants to just shoot him, right? And Burl Ives says, "You're not going to shoot an unarmed man, someone who's not ready to fight you. You're not just going to shoot him in cold blood." And by this point, because he has broken things off with Pat, and she gave him back the dueling pistols.
Yes.
So he didn't bring them for any purpose, but he happened to have them in his saddlebags. And Chuck Connors Buck pulls them out, and he's like, "Hey, Pop, look at these old guns," and and Rufus is like, "These are gentlemen's weapons, you wouldn't know anything about it." And so by the time it comes to the inevitable showdown between McKay and Buck, Rufus says, "You're going to settle this gentleman style," is how he says it. He's like, "We'll use these old pistols," and he asks McKay, "Will these fire?" And McKay says, "Well, I'd have to clean them out." And Rufus says, "I'll do it. I know about these guns. I know how they work. I've been around."
Teach your grandmother to suck eggs. Sometimes.
That's right. That's great. Teach your grandmother to suck eggs. I'll clean them out. And so he cleans them out, and they're looking at each other, and he says, and Rufus says, "There's a whole lot of fancy rigmarole about this that I don't remember, so I'm just gonna say, ready, aim, fire."
James, I interject here. Is that when McKay shows up with Ramon, and they see him riding up, I think this builds up. This is my favorite scene in the film. In all the 3 hours, this next scene is my favorite. And every time I watch it, I'm quite moved by it. Chuck Connors tells Julie, says, you basically, when he comes up here, you tell him that you're here because you want to be here.
Yeah.
Now, Rufus is not listening to this. He's away. He doesn't hear this conversation. And he says, if you don't, I'm going to shoot him dead.
Mm-hmm.
And the camera pans on Gene Simmons.
Right.
And then they step out.
Mm-hmm.
McKay shows up. And so you have, at this point, Bro Lives, he introduces himself, says who he is.
Mm-hmm.
And so he goes, I'm now the owner of the Big Muddy. Here's my deed. Mm-hmm. And that's, like you said, that's when they find the guns, the dueling pistols. And he says, and at all this time, Julie is standing with Chuck Connors. He's right behind her, and he's got his hand on the gun.
Right.
And McKay's on the horse, Ramon's right next to him, and he's looking at her. And so she says, she just says, I came here on my own. I come here all the time. I don't know what you're doing here. And then you see Bro Lives looking at this.
Yeah.
And so, but McKay knows something is up here. And then he dismounts from before he dismounts, he begins to tie from the reins around the saddle horn. And you see Ramon looking at him. And you see what the actor, Ramon, reacts to it. Like, what are you doing? Yeah. He's got this look like, you're going to dismount? And he dismounts.
Yeah.
And he tells Bro Lives, I'm not leaving without her.
Yeah.
And so at that point, Bro Lives, and she's like, tell you to leave. I didn't tell you to come here.
Yeah.
And Gregory Peck is looking at her, and she's looking at him, and Bro Lives looks at her and says, why are you sticking up for him?
Yeah.
And he looks at her. And you come a-blazing here, unarmed, for a fight that's not your fight.
Yeah.
Why are you here?
Right.
And then he looks at Gregory Peck, and then the camera pans on his eyes, and on Gene Simmons' eyes, and you see her eyes glow.
Yeah.
And this is like an unstated confession of their love for each other. They're now in love with each other.
Right. And we know it without it being said. It's amazing.
That scene and the way the build up to that always gets me.
Yeah.
When I first saw it, and whenever I watch it, it builds up to that right moving scene.
Yeah.
And then she, at this point, says she knows what he begins to push Hennessy away, and Hennessy hits her, and the fight begins.
Yeah.
And then Rufus does put Connors puts out a gun. At that point, Bro Lives stops it and says, no, you're going to fight this out.
Yes.
We're going to use the dueling pistols.
Yeah.
But anyway, I wanted to interject that because that's a wonderful scene for me in this film, and it's my favorite. Yeah,
No, that's exactly right, and it is fantastic. Yeah, I come up here all the time. Everyone knows she's alive. Yeah.
I'm sorry. I keep saying this because this is the love is that McKay tells her, Julie, if you don't show up at the end of the canyon there, a lot of men are going to be killed.
Right.
And she goes, that's not my problem. She's willing that they die.
Yeah.
He die.
Yeah.
That is true love.
Mm-hmm.
That is love right there.
Yeah,
I'm in love with you.
Yes.
Love is selfish. Right? Yep. I'm in love with you. I'd rather these men die than you die. Now, for the viewers, anyway, I wanted to add that part because that's the impression that I
get. Yeah, that's great. Let's. We've got a few more comments. We've got another person who's joined us. The Sleepy Reader here.
Hey, Damien.
Thanks to Mr. Libro for alerting me to this meeting of the minds. Thanks for joining us, Damien.
Good to see you, Damien.
Thanks, Sleepy Reader.
Talia says it's quite a selfish scene. Terrell shows that he values his image more than the lives of his men. Yeah, he manipulates Leach, who is truly loyal to him. He gambles that Leach won't.
Well said. Absolutely.
Alone. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Terrell knows that the men won't ride him, but they will do it for Leach. Interesting. You're probably right about that.
Oh,
that
wow.
might be right.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
That's insane.
I'd love to know Rufus's background. You and me both. He knows the rules of gentlemen and values them. Yeah. Rufus is. There's more to him than we get. I want to a fan fiction about Rufus's story. Ramon reaches to stop McKay like he did for Old Thunder, but stops at McKay's expression. He's learned to respect McKay's determination and strength. Yeah, and at this point, he's McKay's man. He's not for working for Terrell anymore effectively.
Men like him are very rare. At one point, everyone says that to Julie and to Pat. Men like him are very rare. After she tells them what happened with Old Thunder, how like 10 times he was thrown down.
Yeah,
and basically he broke the horse.
Yeah, that's right. That is what he calls him. Very rare. It's a wonderful scene, the silent communication between McKay and Julie. That's and Great Books Guy is here. And he says, "Greetings from the Big Money." Oh, thanks for joining us.
The reason for all this conflict.
That's the reason for all this rigmarole.
Facts.
Right. So the duel. Rufus is overseeing it. He's got his revolver with him. He's like, if anyone tries to shoot before I say fire, I'm going to shoot him dead myself.
Like a dog.
And you believe him. And even though one of them is his own son, you believe he would shoot Buck.
Man of his word, honor code.
He is. Right? That's right. And so
without a second thought.
Yeah. And does a duel ever happen in a movie or a great work of literature that goes the way a duel is supposed to happen?
Not for Alexander Hamilton.
It happened for Alexander Hamilton the way you expect. Someone gets shot, right?
No, I don't think Hamilton expected it.
But
I think the whole point of these dueling rituals is they weren't supposed to go well.
Usually you backed off the dueling. It never actually took place. Right. You went back and forth with intermediaries.
Right. The seconds would always negotiate their way out of the actual fight.
Yeah. Right. That's the idea. But in War and Peace, the guy who you think is going to win the duel doesn't win the duel. Spoiler alert. Sorry. Before I spoil all the great duels of literature. So we're about to spoil this one. Because
James spoils all the great duels in literature, and that would be a video to watch right there.
That's right. Well, watch this, and I'll spoil. All right, in the Magic Mountain, there's a duel. And all right, okay. So
is there a duel? I don't think there's a duel in the Magic Mountain.
Oh, there's a duel in the Magic Mountain, and it doesn't go the way you think it's going to go. But so Buck. He gets up to aim, right? So they walk their 10 paces, they turn around, they're aiming, but before Rufus says fire, Buck shoots, and it grazes. Yeah, it grazes McKay's face, so he's got a little G.I. Joe style scar on the side of his face, but he doesn't kill him, and Buck is he's got one shot because they're the old dueling pistols. And Rufus is like, okay, now you can take your shot. And McKay doesn't play the game the way everyone else expects him to play the game. He just throws a gun down and says, no, I'm not going to do it.
But before Rufus basically falls on his knees.
Yeah.
And to avoid the shot.
Yeah, he hides under a wagon.
Yeah. He's
a coward. Yeah. And Rufus knows he's a coward. He said, "You're real good at shooting somebody who's not expecting it." So he's probably done this a few times, right? Not this, but he's probably shot some people. And he goes to get another gun after Gregory Peck is like throwing the pistol down.
Yeah. And
Buck is like, "All right, I'm just going to take him out now," but Rufus shoots him.
Yeah.
Like a dog, because he's a man of his word. Yeah. And it's tragic, but it kind of had to happen, right? The way it was set up. Yeah. This is going to be the way this turns out.
Yeah.
A wonderful scene. So Talia says the crying, sniveling of Buck is embarrassing even to McKay. The way his face collapses is amazing to see.
Yeah, he spits on him. Before the father walks
Yeah.
up to his son and just spits on him, and you notice in the distance, you see all these children are watching this.
Yeah. And and in the canyon, we see because meanwhile the major and his men are riding up, and kind of manning the lookouts in the canyon are mostly children, women and children, with rifles, and then they have these big wooden traps with spikes on them that come down and basically entrap the men from in front and behind, right? All the Terrell men. And Rufus says, is he convinced to go out and just face Terrell one-on-one, or does he decide on his own? I don't remember how that.
No, I think he just decides. Basically, is he's holding his son, and he allows Julie, McKay, and Ramon to just to leave. And as they're riding out, he gets on his horse and he chases after them.
Yeah.
And that's basically he catches up to them. He rides with them. Already the firefight's already begun, and he begins to tell his men to stop shooting.
Right. Yeah, hold your fire.
When he calls out to Terrell. Terrell, basically, it's just you and me.
Yeah.
And and it leads up to the end of the film.
Yeah. So, what one final confrontation between two more antagonists.
Yeah.
And
two selfish old men, because at one point,
that's right.
Somebody said that in the story. Two selfish old men who've had this, this 30-year thing between them, but other people are involved. They're like two countries. And it's my understanding at one point this was like a Cold War film, where like the U.S. is supposed to be like Terrell, and the Soviet Union is supposed to be the Hennessy's.
The plot's been reused too.
I'm sorry, Randy?
The plot has been reused too. In most notably, Survival of the Dead, the last George Romero zombie movie, had the same plot, only with zombies.
Oh, well, I never saw that, so I don't know.
I haven't seen it.
Well, right down to the water rights.
Huh.
Well, how about that?
It's feuding families, water rights. There are Irish people in it. It's great.
There's Irish people in it. Okay. I'll have to check it out.
You can't miss this one, guys.
So the two selfish old men, and this is another scene that we see from a great distance.
Yeah.
They approach each other. They both got rifles instead of dueling pistols. They basically just shoot each other dead right there in the canyon. That's the end. Right? And obviously Terrell, even if Terrell kills Rufus, all Rufus's kin are standing around up on top of the canyon with rifles, and they're just going to kill him, even if that doesn't happen. But so that's the end of them. And then McKay and Julie and Ramon ride off into the sunset, so to speak. What happens with Leach? Does Leach get Pat at the end of it after? Who knows? Probably, yeah, because now she doesn't have to please her father, right? Her father wouldn't have approved of her going with Leach, but now she can go with Leach, I guess.
There's the one back again to the silence between Gregory Peck and Gene Simmons. They're on their horse, and they both look at each other. Yeah, and they don't say anything. Yeah, and because they don't have to say anything. Yeah, and then they ride, down the cliff into the big country. Yep, that's and right. The music begins really ramps up again.
It does, yeah. There's a couple more comments from Talia. The fact that Terrell's riding with armed men against women and children makes them look worse. Yeah. Rufus realizes as he holds his dead son that McKay is right. The war was always between the two selfish old men. Okay, yeah, that's true. And then Rufus makes the more honorable decision to end things between him and Terrell without any others having to die. A decision that Terrell never would have made on his own. No. Right, because if you're correct, Terrell knew that Leach was going to follow him and that the men would follow Leach. So, yeah, there you go. A lot to think about in this movie, and thanks so much for suggesting this, Miguel, because I, as I said before, never seen it before, and really enjoyed it. So
I'm glad. It's one of my top 40 films. I say 40 because a while back, John from John Comics with Friends, he did a series with 2 other YouTubers over several weeks discussing top 40 films.
Right.
And I was in the chats for some of them. And coming up with top 40 movies, I think is tough. Even top 10 is very difficult. But I know I would include this one in there. And that is my favorite Western. And it was tough, because I like Shane, for example.
Sure. Yeah.
I don't like The Searchers. I like the Sergio Leone films are fantastic. Many of Clint Eastwood stuff. But this one's the one that just captivates me. And because I don't think there's a scene for me that is wasted in this movie for about 3 hours that it is. There's not a scene that is boring. I'm just captivated no matter what's happening with any of them. It's engrossing. And and the scenes always move me, like that scene between between Gene Simmons and Gregory Peck, as to when they look at each other and unstated they confess their love for each other, and it's just really well done. And Wyler was just masterful. But one thing I did learn about this film is the dueling scene towards the end was not directed by Wyler.
Okay.
No, apparently he went to do Ben. He started pre-production on Ben-Hur, and he asked one of the assistant directors to do it, which is risky, which is insane because Wyler supposed didn't do that.
Right.
But he trusted this director to do the dueling scene in the end.
Right.
And eventually he saw the end. He was really impressed by it.
He figured it wouldn't be an important scene, right?
I don't know what he was thinking. I do not know what he was thinking. Why he. To go and start pre-production for Ben-Hur.
Right. Well, the guy did a good job, whoever he was.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you liked it. I was a little bit worried you were not going to like it. And for the next hour, we're going to be talking about why you hated this film.
Oh, I wasn't worried about that at all. I was just thrilled to get to talk about the big country again.
Yeah. Yeah. What a fantastic movie. Yeah.
It really is. And it's relatively, it's not a well-known Western.
No, it's not.
No.
For such a Western that's so good, nobody's ever heard of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There's some other ones out there like that too. A lot of you Randolph Scott Westerns are really good, and nobody knows who Randolph Scott is anymore.
Randy, let me tell you something. I know who Randolph Scott is. You know why? Because
you're a Statler Brothers fan.
Well, my middle name is Randolph after Randolph Scott.
Really?
Yes. And because my dad wanted me to be called Randy, and for the first several years of my life, I was. My name is James.
A lot.
Yes, it's James Randolph, and I went by Randy for several years. But the thing is, no offense, I never liked that name for myself.
Well, this explains a lot of the passive aggressive behavior in those memos last week, but we'll talk about that later.
Yeah, we will. Yeah. So there you go. But I've never seen a Randolph Scott Westerns. So,
you know what? I hadn't seen one either until they showed a few. I'm a subscriber to the Criterion channel, and they showed 7 Westerns from this one particular production company. But yeah, he was really kind of like Clint Eastwood before Clint Eastwood.
Yeah, he was he was the main guy.
He's real hard ass.
Yeah.
To me, John Wayne was always kind of a parody of himself. But Randolph Scott was always just a badass.
Right. Yeah. Maybe so. Talia asked how anyone could dislike this movie. I can't imagine. I mean,
I can't imagine it either.
I don't. Yeah, none of us know why it's not better known. I don't know why I never watched it before.
We'll keep telling people.
I guess so. I'm not a big watcher of Westerns generally, and so probably if I was like scrolling through a list, I'd be like, The Big Country, that sounds pretty. It's about water rights. This doesn't sound.
Yeah.
Let's see. What else do we have?
I'll give you a list of westerns, James.
You know,
Believe it or not.
what's the Outlaw Josie Wells? That you know, that'd probably be like my pick for the best. But you know, I think this is better. I think this is
Great. Outlaw Josie Wells, great movie, man. I mean, it's not
totally different movies, but I
not
you
the
know,
Searchers though.
okay, yeah. I mean, you know,
Searchers, man. That's the Searchers are probably at the top of my list.
okay.
This is a wonder about this movie because it had numerous script writers, and apparently
okay.
it was a mess to make.
Okay.
They would do rewrites. Almost daily, which annoyed the actors. Would memorize the line. The next day, they would have a whole another line, whole another script, and it was almost like Casablanca in a way. How much it was, and so, but when we watch it here, and also my understanding, I saw an interview with Gregory Peck. He walked off this film because he had an argument with Wilder, and it had to do with the opening scene, which was shot at the end. It's the scene when the hazing scene. Apparently, he didn't like the way he was shot, Gregory Peck, and he was co-producer of this film, and so he wanted Wilder to redo it again. And Wilder said no, and that's when he said, "Look, I'm also a producer in this film." But the way it was agreed, Wilder was like, "Hey, you do the office producing, I do the set producing." And so Greg walked off the set. He walked off for several days, and apparently there was acrimony between them for several years afterwards because of that. Until they, and so, but yeah, so it's a wonder that this movie, it seems almost flawless in the script, but it apparently was not the case. It's a miracle that it got pulled off the way it did.
Yeah, fantastic. All right, well, I think we've blown past our usual hour running time, but that's okay. That's okay. But
thank you.
I enjoyed it tremendously, and I'm gonna say good night to our viewers, and
thank you.
Around.
Before we leave, I just want to remind everybody to subscribe to The Literate Texan. I'm Randy Ray. I'm easy to find on the YouTube. You just search for my name, Randy Ray, The Literate Texan. But I suspect that most of James's audience is not subscribing to me yet. But we can remedy that tonight.
Subscribers to my channel are required to subscribe to Randy Ray, the Literate Texan, and to LibroParadiso, and to Gore Comics. It's required.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Bring it
guys,
on.
That was so much fun. Thanks.
Exactly. Thanks, everybody.
Good night.
Good night, everyone.